So, hey, what's going down?
We're on the recovery pod.
Not much. Just kind of, I don't know. It's like I'm feeling guilty about watching like 2 episodes of a show in a row, but it's just like, what do I feel guilty about? I just live my life. I do what I do. I do what I enjoy.
Like, you
So,
feel guilty
like,
about the show you're watching, about the way the show's making you feel, or just that you're not being productive?
just that I'm not being productive. But it's like I've worked all day and I worked out, and like, really, how bad does my mind have to be to just constantly just not even like give myself a break? Like, before I had this issue like really bad, like it's gotten way better the more I detach from that, but still it's just like it's like residing in me constantly.
Your judge is just ruthless. Won't give you a break.
I know. But I know what it is. Like, if before I just thought that this is the norm and then this is what I have to live with for the rest of my life, now I know that I don't, and that I'm in full control of my belief system, and my belief system is now try to not believe in those negative things that are being said in my head.
Right. You almost have to
You
look at
know?
the judge as like a third party. And it's like you listen to it, like, let's just call it a parent. And then you listen to it all the years and you think it knows what it's talking about. And you think, oh, you know everything. You're my guide. You're my, protector. And then you just realize one day, this motherfucker don't know nothing. This is full of shit. Expectations are so unrealistic. You think you know what you're talking about. You're inconsistent. What are you, fucking bipolar? Like, and then it's just, you come to terms with like, man, this just isn't a realistic expectation. Why can't you watch TV? Why can't you just veg out one day and do nothing? And if you were doing it all the time, sure, maybe the judge has a point. But if you're just taking a break, or you're just relaxing, or not making the absolute most of your time, like, downtime is essential. I am like a firm believer. Like, there's times where I'm like, man, I'm not as productive as I could be. I could be writing a song. I could be recording something. I could be working on this podcast. I'm just chilling at night, like, for the third night in a row. But it's like, dude, I work a full-time job. I've got kids I'm taking care of. I deserve some downtime. And it just comes to that, and you just gotta tell that voice to shut the hell up sometimes.
Yeah, it's just like the reason why today it's gotten kind of I let it kind of get a little bit out of control is because earlier today I kind of had this thought. It crossed my mind where I'm just sitting there like thinking about how, I'm constantly pushing myself the hardest that I can. And it's just like, I'm thinking like, yeah, it's rough on me. It's rough on my mental health. I'm not very nice to myself most of the time. But then I'm thinking back to like all of my accomplishments, and I'm just like, would I have come this way if I wouldn't have been so hard on myself? So it's like, there's that line again. There's that figuring out of where it is and where it isn't kind of thing. So it's just like, is it because I was pushing myself? Or is it because I had just a like inner deep motivation that was like a, internal? It wasn't like, oh, I'm like driven by fear and I have to do this, or, or was it because, just that judge is constantly screwing with me? But now I kind of
thinking too much about it. You're trying to make
Yeah.
something that doesn't make sense make sense, you know?
No, yeah, as I'm saying it out loud, I'm kind of realizing that the only thing that makes a difference with this voice is that it pushes me to get done something like right away, here and now. It's like, you got to just get this done now and like not procrastinate it, because then I have this fear that I'll never do it or whatever, which is also very irrational.
Right.
But yeah, once I sit down and I get going and I do something, I give it my all. So it's me being able to be present and be aware in the moment and just do it. So I had this, and this thought carried over to this time here and now where I'm judging myself for watching TV. It carried over in the sense that, yes, the judge was protecting itself. It was like, yeah, I meant to be here, because if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't get to where you're at now in life. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, plus, it's really, at least you have the awareness behind it. You know, sometimes it's a fine line between being the cheerleader that's going to motivate you when you're letting your procrastination voice get louder and your lack of energy run the show. And then it turns into like the drill sergeant who's like, bro, come on, like, give me a break.
Mm-hmm.
There's no fine line. It's not a rational thing. And there is no right answer. Like, I was watching this thing earlier. I follow this dude. I really got to start referencing my sources. On YouTube. Fuck. I want to try to look it up without closing the app. He was talking about struggling with a client who, like,
Was that the subtle art guy?
No.
Oh, it's a different one?
No, I know him. Come on now.
Okay, sorry.
It's this dude. And this dude, the page is called Uncommon Practitioners. And it's Mark Tyrell or something. He's cool, man. And he I just found him one day at work when I was just like, sometimes at work when I like watch a video or something while I'm eating, you know, and I'm like, sometimes feel guilty about watching like a battle rap or a Fortnite video or something, you know, and I'm like, all right, let me multitask here. Let me watch something that will help me at my job too. And I like this stuff. It's really good stuff. So anyway, he's talking like how to help your client make tough decisions. And he was working with a client who he was like paralyzed by his indecision, that he needed to know the 100% right answer before making a decision, whether that was a relationship decision, a major life change, job, or something as small as, where do I want to eat tonight, you know. And the therapist was like, this guy was just obsessed with not moving until he knew without a doubt that he was making the right choice in a world full of options, of partners, of paths to go. And he's like, there is no 100% right answer for anything. You know, there is no life trajectory of perfection. And he had to try to find a way to relay this to the client in a way that he would kind of accept, because he was so paralyzed. I don't know the tips. I was kind of half-assed listening to it. But this dude's dope, man. And he's very direct. And he's just like, I don't know, like, I like his videos. They keep my attention. They got really good insights. I probably referenced him a time or two already. Just things I picked up from him. But it's kind of, I don't know, like what you were saying just made me think of that, because it's like, what is the right answer? And it's like, there is no right answer. I can make the wrong answer and I can make the wrong choice and find something beneficial from it, like trying for the 10th time with a toxic ex, you know, and I could learn and grow from that. Does that make it the choice I should have chose? Or my addiction led me down a dark road that I've overcome and now have used to help people. Does that mean I was right all those years to do what I did? You know what I mean? Like, there is no right answer. It's just like kind of trial and error, taking where you're at and trying to become aware of what's really going on, and then making the most out of the shit pile you got in front of you. In a very pessimistic way, you know.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Because it's just like I get that fear in my head that I'm gonna lose something.
Right.
Like I have this fear of losing things, whether it's people, things, objects, like anything. And it goes down to the depth of whatever has helped carried me like through life or just in general, like I'm gonna fucking lose it. And I just can't afford to lose anything because then I'll just like, it's crazy. So I have this fear of like, if I lose this judge, if I lose this abusive, toxic fucking voice in my head, this like demon or whatever, like, what if I fall apart?
Right.
And that is the one thing. That is the one reason I'm clinging on to it is, and now I'm saying this out loud, and I'm just like, damn. Now it makes sense why I struggle with it so much constantly. Is that like maybe deep down somewhere I don't want to lose it, but I just have to be completely 100% ready.
Right.
And I'm getting myself ready. And in this, so, the book that I've been reading right now, The Fifth Agreement by Don Miguel and his son, Jose Miguel, I think, they're talking about, they like literally this one sentence, they said that you are the truth and everything else is lies. That shit, like seriously, it was like, when I heard those words, it was like white magic. It was like I felt something deep inside of me that it was so familiar and I felt it before, but I haven't felt it in so long I almost forgot the feeling. And I kind of did this like meditation on it, just kind of like just saying it like a mantra and just like feeling this, just feeling myself as the truth. So if I'm being 100% who I am, who I'm meant to be, the authentic self, with the pure intentions and everything, it's like it doesn't matter what I feel like I should do, what I feel to whatever I feel to make a choice, like that whole like saying listen to your heart, what it says, like that is what this is. That is what people have been talking about this whole time. It's just whatever it is that comes from that, from you, from your truth, from you being the truth, is what should be or whatever. So it's like now I'm saying that if I lose this judge, if I lose anything, period, like I still have myself as that truth, and that's the most important thing. And
Right.
so like fuck everything else kind of thing.
Yeah, and a lot of people hold on to defects. That's why step 6 is we were entirely ready
Mm-hmm.
to have God remove these defects. Why like I did step 4 and I did step 5 with my sponsor. Like I did step 4 and then going over with him pretty much is step 5. I didn't do 6 for a long time. Why? Who would want to hold on to their defects?
Right.
Because that's my armor. That's the shit that I've used to protect myself, to like, keep up some type of guard, to strengthen myself. Like you're doing, like, oh, what am I
Yeah.
if I don't have this judge to push me to be more, so I feel
Yeah.
good, so I feel in shape, so I feel smart, like. So I remember one day just driving to work. It was so random. And I was just like, in this moment, I'm ready to have these defects removed. All right. I understand some of them are not as defective for me as others. but they are a layer of protection, keeping me from being 100% authentic. Like maybe it's my sass, maybe it's, just some things that just keep me from being extremely vulnerable. Maybe the more toxic ones, I'm like, yeah, go ahead and take them shits. I'm tired of self-judging. I'm tired of beating myself up. But these ones over here, they're not that bad. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of want to hold on to these. Anyway, I was just like, you know what? I'm ready. And then even doing step 6 is not some magic cure-all. Like, okay, I'm ready. Boom, I'm cured. It's like, I'm ready for them to be removed in the universe's time. Because at least if I'm ready for them to be removed, I'll stop holding on to them. But if I'm holding on to them, where the hell are they going to go? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If I let them go, maybe they'll linger for a while. But at least I'll stop pulling them back when they start to drift. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Gotta love my metaphors. I could see them in my head. Like I'm seeing like little black bubbles that I'm like holding in like shields. But yeah, I mean,
No,
for real, the judge is a bitch, man. And yeah, it's that for the fifth agreement, that stuff is so true. And I'm reading the new Don Miguel book called The Three Questions.
ooh.
I already got to the first one, and it's basically like, without spoiling, it's like the first. I'll just spoil the first question.
Yeah, don't,
I want to
please don't
spoil the
spoil
first
it.
question. I want to spoil the
Don't.
first question. No.
Can you like
I had
work
a
like
ball rolling here, and it was about to like now build up. Now I got a whole side piece it. Hey, now. So anyway, what else is going on in the world today?
no, can you say it without saying it?
It
Kind of thing?
basically was saying you learn who you are by first realizing who you are not. And
Hey, oh
yeah,
man, that's
so
ooh.
kind of what you were saying, you are truth, the rest is lies. You, the observer, the authentic self, are you. The lies are the layers of protection, the labels, the conditioning, the armor. It could be a part of you. It is a part of your ego. And not like the bad ego, but the self-image you have of yourself and the self-image you project to the world. We can't deny that we have an ego. We have a personality that alone gives us an ego, which is fine. Ego is not a bad thing. And I don't know if I mentioned it here, but we've talked about it aside from here, that you can become friends with the ego. You can learn to
Yeah.
utilize the ego rather than make it some horrible thing to try to rid yourself of, therefore being thrown off every time you show signs of having one, because guess what? Everyone's going to have one. Unless you are some soulless, emotionless being walking around who don't give a shit about nothing, you have an ego. You take stances, you have attachments to other people, you have an ego, and that's fine. It's an unconscious ego that we need to start reminding ourselves of to beware of. Like the one that says, my point of view is going to make me treat you like a shitty person because your point of view doesn't agree with mine. That's the ego I want to stay away from. But the ego that's like, hey, I'm going to stand up and fight for something I believe in, even though I don't need to condemn other people for having an opposing belief. That's cool. I have an ego. I have a sobriety ego. I have a father ego. I have an ego. Anyway, I feel like I'm just kind of beating a dead horse now, but yeah, like learning who you are by first coming to terms with who you are not. Dope.
Yeah, that's basically what he's been saying this whole time about in the other books, just not believing those lies about yourself. So whatever you believed in about yourself this whole time, it's like none of it is true. And
Yeah.
so I'm in this process of really, really trying to, and like I can feel there's some things that I'm learning and I'm understanding, and it's seeing that they really are not. And then there are some things that it's just it's this feeling I get. It's like I get taken back to when I was little, when I tried to just stop believing them. Like when I'm in my head and I'm thinking like, okay, I can't believe this anymore. Like this is not true. But then I get taken back to those moments and I can't even like pinpoint the memory, but I remember I felt like they were true. They were so true back then. They were so fucking true. And I remember, I don't know. It's really hard. And I don't know why it's so hard for me, but
No, I was just
I
thinking the
just,
same thing. Like thinking about Don Miguel always takes me back to the Four Agreements, which is the first book I read in rehab, and it takes me right back from going to fully, I mean 100% fully identifying with every thought, every point of view, and every emotion I ever had, every victimizing outlook, every major point of my past, every fucking piece of attitude I had, completely identified, to being like, huh, maybe this, you know what I mean? Maybe just the whole idea of finding that part of you that hasn't changed, finding the observer.
mm-hmm,
Like when I heard those words, it was like, there is a part of you that is the same exact thing it was as a 12-year-old, as a 10-year-old, as a child, as an adult. That is you. I was like instantly just like, oh, like, yes, I have different viewpoints, opinions, and experiences. I have a different behavior style. I have a different personality now than I did at those ages. But there is a part of me that is exactly the same, and that's me. You know, my thoughts are different. My, point of views have changed, but there is a similar area, and that's me in that space. And I don't know, every time I think of Don Miguel, I just go back to like, oh my God, like I can't believe I lived like that for so long. And I'm so grateful that I
right.
found this book in particular, but just this type of stuff in general fucking saved my life, man.
Yeah, I feel exactly the same. It's so relieving to know that I just don't have to live like this anymore and it's possible for me to feel good. But it's just like finding that like observer that's been there all throughout. It's like it feels like there was a point in my childhood where it was like I don't remember what happened. Like I swear to God, but it felt like whatever was happening, it was so much more powerful. It felt like this, okay? Like I'm saying it wasn't like that, but it just felt like that even that observer got killed.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't remember that observer even then. So it takes it takes every single like cell in my brain and my body to try and just like think like, this, whatever those things were, like it was not me, it was them. Like I try to, I don't know if this is really wrong of me to say, but it's like whatever those people said and did back then, it was because of their issues. It wasn't because there was something wrong with me. So
Yeah, what's wrong with saying that?
I don't know, like I feel like it's taking off responsibility. Like, oh, it was not me, it was all them. It almost sounds like narcissistic. So like I don't want to become like narcissistic, but there's no way that I can become that because I'm not. But it's just the sound of that. It's like it's something a narcissist would say.
Right. No, I get what you're saying, and it doesn't feel wrong if I don't think too much about it.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Maybe to try to break it down would be like, you know what you have ownership over, your parts in situations. You're saying like other people's responses and reactions or behaviors are their problem, not so much yours, or maybe the way you were mistreated as a child, or you know what I mean? Like, and it's hard
Yeah.
to assume ownership. I do, but it's hard to assume ownership over unconscious behavior. You know, it's hard for me to say, like, I willingly made these choices. It's almost like when an addict gets clean. We wake up from a long fog and we can truly feel like it was not us who did those things. You know what I mean? We know it was
Mm-hmm.
us. We remember doing it, most of it. But you wake up almost like someone just hijacked my fucking body for a while and now I have to pay the price. Like I'm sitting in jail for someone else's crime, almost. And I do own what I've done in my addiction and I own what I did in my unconsciousness. But it's still, I don't know. I give myself a pass because I was unconscious. As far as, you know, I own it still, I'll make my amends, I'll do all that. But I don't beat myself up because I was unconscious. You know, I can't. That's not fair to.
Yeah. No, for sure.
So, like,
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, go ahead.
well, I was going to say, like, when you were saying you don't remember the observer back in those days, I do and I don't. I feel like it's almost like being hypnotized or something. Like somebody, I was there watching, but I didn't have the controller. You know what I mean? If I'm looking at it like a
Mm-hmm.
virtual reality thing, I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
I'm just, I don't even know I can grab the controller. I'm just watching the
Right.
show. I'm hearing the voices. I'm feeling the pain. I'm giving into the impulses, whether that's anger or drugs, and I'm just going along on autopilot. You know, I have my moments where I grab the controller, but I don't know I can hold on to it or control it at all. Because when the feelings come and the thoughts come, that's truth to me back then, and that's something that needs to be responded to.
Mm-hmm.
So looking back, there is a lot of unconscious behavior, a lot of toxicity that was just there was no choice in the matter. It was happening to where nowadays I can see it better and I have the controller and I can choose more to put it down. And even when I'm on autopilot, I'm still holding it. I'm just kind of going with the flow and then I remember to like snap out of that daze and be like, oh shit, what am I doing? You know, it's it's a dangerous thing. That's why I wish the world would just every time I try to like give someone a new earth or four agreements, I'm like, please read this and get it. You will save
Yeah.
so much of your life. Like my kids even. I just look at my son, I'm like, because after I got the New Earth copy the other day again, I was like, bro, you need to read this book, man. He's just like, me. I'm like, dude, this fucking
It's
change.
a heavy read.
It
Eckhart Tolle is
is.
not somebody for a 12-year-old man.
I
Like you gotta
know.
Don Miguel. Don Miguel would be great. He is so easy to read. You should have him start with that.
No, he did. 2 years ago when he was here, he had to read every night, and I was like, "Please read this book," and he actually did. Like he didn't read all of it.
Really?
Yeah, he didn't
Which
read all of it.
one?
Four Agreements.
Oh.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, I kind of like it," but it wasn't like he came out like, "Oh, I just had a revelation." He's just like, "Yeah, it's pretty cool." You know, whatever.
Yeah, he probably wasn't thinking deep into it.
No, and without, I mean, as a child, you're especially that age, you are just now starting to form opinions and identify with
Yeah.
them. And then I'm gonna come along and be like, by the way, it's all bullshit. You're gonna be like, what? Don't cheat me
Yeah.
out of my, you know. And I look at it too like, don't cheat him out of his awakening. You know what I mean? Like, let him explore, let him fall, let him learn. You know, because I would love to save him from living till 30 in complete insanity like I did. But would I have gotten here without going there? I don't know. Not everybody makes it out of there, but I hope he does. And I just let him know, hey, you got somewhere to turn if you want to. That's all I can ever say. Even with drugs. Hey, man, you're probably going to do it. Be careful. You know where to come if you need to. I'm not cool with it, but I'm not about to tell you what to do and what not to do and shut you out. I ain't enabling your ass either.
I don't hear you as well as I did earlier.
What? I'm here.
Yeah.
Oh, is it better now?
It just sounds like hollow, like there's, like you put me on speakerphone or something.
No, I walked outside. It must just be picking up the...
Okay, that's better.
Thank you for letting me know.
How do you work this gadget? So as you were saying, so with you like relating everything to recovery, it kind of made me think of, as you were talking about like defects, like what I was talking about, the judge. So my defects is my judge, I guess. And so it just kind of makes me think like the steps, they're all like, they're spiritual, but it's like they're the very, very like on the surface of spirituality, like, or not on the surface, but just like a different like form, different wording. So it's like, which makes me think even deeper. So everybody who creates concepts, or not creates concepts, but puts things into words, like Eckhart Tolle has his way of describing things. Don Miguel has his way of describing things. Whoever came out with the NA program has their ways of describing things, and it's all speaking the same truth. So it's like it's all one singular idea, but people just put things into form to get the information across. Yeah. And so it's like, I know for a fact that if I were to just do the steps, I would not deal with my like deeper issues with the judge that go way deeper than just, because I did the 6th step, and after I did the 6th step, I did not feel the same way as after I read all the books that I've read. And
right,
it's like the spiritual books, they just go like deeper into it, where they really just like sort it out and like really explain in depth of how this is and what this is. And like, I don't know what I'm trying to get to here with this, but I just kind of had this like mini revelation. But the steps are very hard to just do them on their own, I feel like, you know.
So like, you ready for a new metaphor?
Let's go.
I got one. So like, all right, check it out. A new earth is like the Old Testament. You know what I'm saying? It's deep, wordy, thick, and in depth. Something like the 4 Agreements is like the New Testament. You know, where you kind of break it down in simpler form and make it digestible. And the steps, no offense to the steps at all, but there's 12 of them. It's not as long. They're like the quick manual, the little IP pamphlet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, no disrespect. Steps are awesome. So that's kind of how I look at it. That's why when I got clean, everybody's like, you need to work the steps. You need to do this. I'm like, bruh, I read extensively. I analyze myself too much to the point where I probably shouldn't do a 4th step, because me overanalyzing myself is a defect. And I always break it down like this. If you are coming straight off the street, minus drugs, and I know I've said this in a pod, you need the steps, because It's basic knowledge, and it gets you at least looking at the idea that you have more than just a drug problem, that the drugs are not your only problem. You've got some you problems you need to take a look at. Find some type of higher power that gives you some type of hope to be positive or be connected somehow to other people. And, fourth step, look at yourself. Fifth step, speak on it. Recognize some defects, fucking take care of them. Say I'm sorry. I'm totally oversimplifying. I apologize to anybody who's like, fuck you for shit on my steps, and I'm not. But I was like deep into all this other stuff that more than covers the steps. You know what I mean? More than breaks down self-investigation. So yes, steps are awesome. They are the simple way. And I think they're great. And I think if it wasn't for the other stuff I'm into, I don't know if steps would have done it for me. Kind of like you were saying.
Yeah, but the whole thing you're saying, like overanalyzing yourself, I don't know if that's like, I think that's just like an ego made up thing where you just write down what you've already analyzed. You know what I mean? Like if you're just doing the step, but
Right. But I mean, I've always looked at myself always, if I'm hanging out in a social environment, I'm judging myself. If I, act like an ass unconsciously at work, I would always leave and be like, bro, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like even when I was getting high. So it wasn't technically a fourth step or a 10th step, but it was, I wasn't just walking around thinking my shit don't stink and I have nothing to look at. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people do. A lot of people, at the very least, don't reflect daily. And that's what I mean. I already do that to the point where I need to give myself a break more than I need to look within. That's what I was trying to say. But doing the fourth step officially was nice because it's like, okay, you're not just sitting here trying to pick yourself apart with every shitty thing you do. You're trying to find the pattern, So my old recovery coach, who's basically my unofficial sponsor, would always be like, if you're writing down more than 10 things, you are beating yourself up. Stop. Pick out a few highlights, look for the pattern. That's what we're looking for, is the pattern. Because there is a pattern. What are we going to do about that? If you're just looking at the facts of the situation and you're not looking for the pattern, you're not seeing the problem. You're just seeing the result of the problem.
Yeah, I guess I'm kind of I get defensive about the steps because the third step has really helped me, because there was a moment where I just thought, well, god damn, like what the fuck am I doing? Like I just seriously need to just chill. And then when I wrote the third step, I'm like, you know what? I just surrender to my life. It is what it is. I can't. I'm done. Like I'm done stressing. I'm done, And so
Yeah.
and then when I wrote the fourth step, it was the biggest thing for that was actually the fifth for me, because after reading stuff about me to another person and being able to finally say those things out loud to somebody for the first time in my entire life that I've been just hiding, it was incredible. Like it was like after I read it and I looked up at my sponsor and I was like, oh my God, you don't hate me. And, like, wow. Oh my God. This is.
Yeah, it's a really freeing feeling. That's good. I still struggle with the higher power thing a lot. Like, I have my higher power. I just call it life. It helps me with acceptance to just say, I don't know what God is, what its name is, if it's mine or yours or whatever, and that works for me because I believe in something, but I believe in life. I believe that life is just going to be the way it is, and it doesn't get me lost with the specifics to the point where on any given day I believe or don't believe those specifics. And there's times where I forget that life is my higher power, and acceptance and intuition and gut feelings and conscious behavior, just my overall conscious, like what conscience, what's right and wrong. That is what works best for me as a higher power. And then I forget that sometimes. And I'm like, do I even believe in like a God, like a conscious God that's going to like answer questions and guide? And even though I've had evidence of answered prayers, I don't know, when I think too much about it, I really get lost in it.
So
And
thinking too much about anything is what gets you because then you get in your mind, and that is the worst place to be. So what higher power is for me, if I had to put it into words, because this is something that it's formless and words are form. So when you're trying to put something formless into words,
right,
it's like impossible. And so to me, God is a feeling, and the feeling is awareness. So when I get into that aware observer mode and I step back, I feel like that part of me that pulls me into that is God. It's God working in my life. It's the ability to just, like, as soon as I get into observer mode, I just feel like just relief and joy and happiness, and just like I can think, like, I don't think, but I just feel like better, and I know what is right, and I know the truth, and I see the truth, kind of thing. So
right.
yeah,
And that's kind of what I've always said too. I never really thought about it like that. Maybe I did, but I forget that. Yeah, I mean, I always use the metaphor like putting God in a box. Like once I try to define it specifically, put it in a box to where this is what I believe and know it to be, I'm already lost, because I'm putting a huge thing into a small formed box. And if I want to believe too hard about it, like people do with wars over religion and debates and stuff, now I'm turning my back on something, like somebody who is also a creature of God, whatever, we all came from the same place, over an idea, over my belief, my formed thoughts. That's where I feel like I've just, whatever is your higher power that keeps you going, man, I'm with it. This dude I used to go to meetings, he's like, I don't care if you pray to the cosmic muffin, as long as you got something. Like, yo, cosmic muffin is my high power, though. Yo, he's pretty. So yeah, I like the higher power talks though, because I feel people really struggle with that shit, and I don't. Sometimes I feel like when I share about it the way I do, that I'm going to offend somebody who has a very structured religion or belief system. But then I'm like, I don't care, because I'm not telling you what it is. I'm just telling you what I think. And maybe I'm going to help the guy who's sitting there like, I don't believe shit. And that's putting me in a funky spot,
Yeah. I just the fact of, like, I have very, very, like, specific beliefs on, like, exactly what God is, but it's just, like, it's kind of, like, crazy. I believe that all of us, right, all of our, like, consciousness, we all are the same consciousness. So, like, you are me and I'm you, but then we're also other people, and we're all one. And so if you put all of us together into one thing, that's like one singular conscious, like a group conscious. No reference intended for like the NA, but maybe that's why they named it. So, but I'm talking conscious, like our observer mode conscious, where we're actually conscious, because it's in every single one of us. And our eyes. So like, I really like how Don Miguel described it. Our eyes are just reflecting light. So we're just mirrors. And so we're just a bunch of different mirrors that are reflecting light, that are perceiving these reflections, these virtual realities in our own way. But the conscious is one. So when I become conscious, when you become conscious, when somebody else becomes conscious, we're all one thing. And that is what God is, because you put it all together, that's God right there. And those pieces of conscious is just him, just them like being spread out. And
right. Yeah, the only thing that really separates us is ego.
Yeah, and that's why when we get into our egoic states, that shit like it makes us feel separated. Like when I get in my head, I want to isolate. When I get in my head, I feel like the world is against me. I feel like I'm alone, and I feel like I don't deserve people, and it's trash. Like, and I'm finally realizing I have a choice to stand up against it. I have a choice to fight. I think I'm in that warrior stage, where in the Fifth Agreement he talks about, the dream of the second attention. So the first attention is when you're constantly in the ego, but then like in the second attention, you realize that you're not your ego, but you're standing up to fight. And I literally feel like it takes every fucking bone and cell in my body to fight against it, but it's like I'm doing it and I'm like coming out on the top. And there are some days where I can't, and I fall into it, and I'm trying to pull myself out, and it doesn't come automatically. It doesn't come very quickly, but I end up doing it anyways. And I feel like I'm getting my power back. Like I feel like I'm gaining something that I've lost a really long time ago. And it's fucking awesome. And I'm just like, for the first time ever, I can say that I want to live for a long time. Well, I mean, I'm not attaching to like the timing of how long I live, but I don't want to die. Like, I don't care if, like, if before I didn't care if I died. I was like, yeah, maybe I'll like get hit by a car. It'll be great. But now, now I'm like, you know what? I actually don't want to get hit by a car. I have things to do.
Right.
I have people to see, things to just live for and enjoy. And the only thing that made me feel like I didn't want to enjoy it was my mind. And now I know that I just don't have to let it fuck me up like this. I have the choice to not let it do that to me.
Yeah, it's such a shitty feeling to feel like that. Like, I just remember feeling like it wasn't that I wanted to die. It's that I just didn't want to feel the way I felt anymore. And I didn't think there was a way out.
Yeah.
Whether drugs or really my mind, my thoughts, my feelings, my judgments, they were so heavy that I was just like, man, I can't do this anymore. But I don't know, the concepts to me that have been introduced with mindfulness and recovery were just so foreign to me that I don't know if maybe I heard them along the way and just thought they were bullshit because I was so identified with my ego and all that, my negativity that I armored myself with. But man, ugh. I truly don't think, I've said this before, I don't think I would have stayed sober without things like Eckhart Tolle, like identifying with thoughts, recognizing ego, and detaching from thoughts. Like, thoughts alone have been so dark that if I never learned to disassociate with them, or at least look at them objectively without just being run by them, I would have probably relapsed at every dark relapse thought I've had, unless I just really push through it. But there's been a couple times where I've felt him for like a good week, and I don't think I would have survived that week, because, especially this week in particular, because my thoughts weren't, I wasn't craving, I wasn't pissed, nothing was going wrong, everything was going right, actually. It wasn't a celebratory feeling, it was just a general, I want to do this. I want to relapse. I want to get high again. You know, I want to, I don't know if I was bored or what. It just was a thought that came and manifested itself. And I was like, thank God for thought identification alone, to be like, this is not you, man.
Well, those thoughts come from somewhere.
Because it was heavy enough. Right. Yeah, and I don't know. I can never pinpoint where that one came from.
Yeah, it's usually...
I actually did.
Yeah, because I can name a couple things off the top of my head, but about why you felt that way.
You crazy. Nah, you don't know shit.
I'm kind of a mind reader.
All right, try me.
That's how I know.
All right, go ahead.
No. I'm just saying. Come on, on the pod, really?
No. Okay, so this... Hey, anything you could say to me, you could say in front of them. No, so this is what it was. This is most of what it was. Sure. I was in a relationship I was very, very unfulfilled in, and shit like that. Yeah, that totally added to it. The main
Wait,
thing,
what?
So I said I was in a relationship I was very unfulfilled in, and that probably added to it.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait.
Prior.
Quick maps. Quick maps.
Listen to all the words. You gotta listen to all the words in the sentence.
I have selective hearing. Relationship was...
Saw red. What'd you say? Hold up. Ego take the wheel. Hey, I'm never gonna say anything bad about us on the podcast. Yeah. So, anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, this is it. No, for real, what was I saying?
You were in a relationship that was very unfulfilling.
No, I got it. No, that wasn't even part of it. That was just, I'm like throwing that in as like a sprinkle on top. That wasn't even it. The thing was, the whole time that's really helped me is choosing recovery. Saying, if you want it, bro, go get it. Just be honest about what it is. That is my line. That is what I tell people when I work with them. That is what I tell anybody who's... I just try to put that out there, because if I feel like I have to do this, the unconscious, stubborn part of me is going to defend it. No matter how much I want. If I 90% want to stay sober, and I say, you have to stay sober, that 10% is going to be like, do I though? So anyway, it was this job. When I got the job, I had been working for 4 years at the time. Now I have to be sober as a job requirement. It's part of my job to have years in active addiction is a requirement, and years clean. And obviously, if I'm working in a recovery field, I gotta be clean. So I wanted to be clean anyway. I was already clean. I was already working a program. I was already choosing sobriety. For some reason, it crept in my head one day that you have to be clean. And it just weighed too long on me without me reminding myself that I choose it. And we talked about this on the pod too, where it was like, I don't have to go to work, I choose to. The power of choice is tremendous. So this thought just creeped in my head alongside with my relationship funk, alongside with marijuana becoming legal, alongside with everything. Everything combined. I had a lot of downtime at work to be bored. I just started romancing the idea of smoking marijuana again. And I'm like, what does it look like? What's in the dispensary? So I'm looking online. Oh man, that would be my job. My dream job that I'm working at, that I've been working so hard to get into. What other jobs are out there? Oh, there's a factory job and blah, blah. I'm doing all this shit. And it's because the sole fact that I'm telling myself I have to be sober. I don't want to get high, because if I really think about it, I don't like the life I live when I get high. And I had to remind myself, dude, you don't have to stay sober. You want to already. So what the hell are you doing? You know? I think it was as simple as that. I've seen people, and I've seen people go in a conversation from choosing sobriety to me maybe going a little too far trying to push that, because they're already kind of choosing it. Then I'm like, yeah, cheerleading them. And then I'll see them retract. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, people got to choose it. That's why anytime I ever talk to somebody, I talk to somebody today who's trying to get their sister in. Hey, you know, my sister needs this, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, does she want it? First thing I ask every time, do they even want us to get sober? Well, let me give you some Al-Anon shit so you can focus on your damn self. Send her my way and I'll see where she's at.